Hello, and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series looking at the developments in the world of fintechs. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy and Technology Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Harsh Sinha, who's Vice President of Engineering at TransferWise, a peer-to-peer money transfer service. Harsh, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell me a little bit about how TransferWise is really disrupting the cross-border remittance market?
TransferWise is an international money transfer platform. We allow consumers and businesses to send, spend, and receive money across borders. It's about usually 8 times cheaper. We use the mid-market rate that you get on Google as the exchange rate for sending money abroad. And you'll see our fees transparently when you start the flow and as you go through the flow. We are moving about 15% of the money that is being moved out of the UK in the consumer market, and we're growing rapidly. And the way we do this is by hooking into the local banking system in each country that we operate in. So if you think about how TransferWise is set up, we're building a local banking network, and the money never really moves across borders. So when you set up a transfer with TransferWise, let's say you're moving money from the UK to Canada, you would go and set up your transfer on TransferWise. You move money into TransferWise's UK bank account using the local payment system, which is fast and cheap to use. And then once we receive your money, we turn around and send money to your destination account in Canada from TransferWise's Canadian account. And that bypasses the expensive rails that are set up for moving money across borders in the international banking system. So that allows us to disrupt and allows us to move money around borders much cheaper and faster.
And you are moving a lot of money, so it's £1.5 billion per month. What were the challenges really to scaling up so quickly, and how did you overcome them?
As compared to the banks, if you use TransferWise, we are 8 times cheaper. And you can move money from 47 countries and move money to over 60 countries. So as we scaled the business, we started off being a UK to Euro business mostly 7 years ago. But over the years, as we expanded our global coverage, the things that we had to go through were similar to a lot of tech companies and startups, what they go through. So the biggest one, the challenges of scaling such a global business is hiring. So we are at 900 employees across 9 offices now. And how do you make sure that as you're hiring more and more people, more engineers, more product people, more customer operations people, how do you keep the culture and maintain the strong culture in the company? And the second one is, of course, as we grow, how do you handle the volumes? How do the systems scale? How do we make sure that as our customers are across the world, how do we deliver the best super fast services to them in each corner of the globe?
Okay, and I know you've recently launched an international bank account. How does that work?
Yeah, so we launched a product called the Borderless account. The Borderless account allows you to send, spend, and receive money and hold money in TransferWise across 28 different currencies. You also can get local bank details across the US, UK, Europe, and Australia. And the way it works is basically you can hold money within TransferWise. Think about if you're a freelancer or if you are a journalist and you get paid as you travel around the world doing stories. So in some places you might have expenses that are in the US and you might want to keep that money in the US. So you can get paid through your local bank details from into TransferWise, and you can keep the money in US dollars. Next time you get to the US, you want to spend US dollars, we give you a card and you can spend the money on the card on the US dollars. If you want to bring that money back into the UK, you just convert it at the same low fees that TransferWise provides you and at the mid-market exchange rate that we give you. And this is a great product for both consumers and businesses because when we talk to our customers, they tell us the biggest hurdle of operating across borders is how do you manage your finances across all these different currencies. So we believe in building a world where people are getting more and more global, operate around the world, their businesses and travel. You should not have to think so much about how do you access your finances across the borders.
Okay. And there's been a lot of changes within the payments market, especially driven by regulations, let's say the Payment Services Directive 2 or open banking, which came in January. How is that going to affect your business model, do you think?
So we think both regulations are good. They're headed in the right direction. So first, open banking. So open banking basically requires financial services to open up the data through APIs. Transparency is always great for most industries and markets, especially the consumers are the ones who win. We've seen in open banking, quite a few of the banks have unfortunately been able to extend the deadlines where they have to open up the APIs and gotten extensions. So we still have to see how this will impact the market. But we do believe once the APIs are open, there'll be good innovation happening where different apps can connect to banking APIs and share data, customer data. For PSD2, we think it's a good regulation. It is a move in the right direction to transparently show the fees that are involved in doing a transaction, especially upfront. In our space, a lot of the fees are hidden in the exchange rate, are hidden in what you see is not what you get in the end. And the push for both open banking and PSD2, where you have to show your fees transparently, is a big push to enable the consumer to make the right decisions and then make the right choices for the services that they use.
Okay, and my last question is, in addition to your role at TransferWise, you also help mentor other fintech startups and things. Sort of what kind of trends are you seeing and what kind of advice would you give to startups?
Consumers are going more and more looking for apps that do specific jobs for them. So if you want to transfer money around the world, they'll go and find a money transfer app. If you want to invest, they'll find an app that helps them invest. So we're seeing the accessibility for financial services and other services where people are going verticalized as opposed to bundling. And the second one is mobile continues to be a big enabler for people using new services. And if you're a company right now in tech, you really, really have to focus on your mobile experience.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Harsh.
Thank you, Joy.